Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Keith Blanchard. Bass guitarist, singer, sound engineer, spiritual guru, all of it.
Does it all.
Man, it's good having you here.
Thank you for having me, both of you.
Well, we're here to talk about all kinds of stuff with you, man. Talk about this history. But currently, you're doing a lot of duo stuff. You're doing here and there. You got some spot dates with Grand Theft Audio.
Yeah, right. Digging that.
So before we break into history, let's talk about currently right now. So what is your acoustic thing looking like? What are you doing out there?
Well, pre-COVID, when COVID came along, that door shut, as we all know.
Yeah.
And after 30, give or take, years of being a working musician, the first month when the income stopped, I'm like, oh, shit.
Mm-hmm.
Second month, I'm like, I'm enjoying this a little bit too much. Post-COVID, I was done. I renunciated my entire life, gave furniture away, sold.
I remember
I
this.
just did the whole thing. I was done.
You did this on Facebook, and I was sitting back going, what in the hell is going on with Keith?
Right. But I got rid of everything, and then a short time later, my wallet said, no, Keith, you ain't done with music.
You got to play.
So I bought all new gear, EV tower.
Nice.
No hauling a PA system around with cables.
Mm-hmm.
So I started the process again. So I'm getting back into the field again, and people are aware that I'm back doing it, so the phones are starting to ring. So I'm doing a lot of solo acoustic stuff, which I like. The money's really good. Post-COVID and pre-COVID, the money's completely different.
Really?
Oh, absolutely. Post-COVID, pre-COVID, if you were lucky to make a good paycheck, that might look like $150. That would be including tips.
Yeah.
Now, some people in these acoustic clubs are dropping $3.5 bills. For one person by
For a
themselves.
solo.
I've actually noticed that with my band, the tips have been amazing. And they used to not be amazing. Right. So it's been kind of cool.
And you're still doing some duo stuff. I saw you just play with Daphne Fletcher, or it's coming up as
I
we
like
record
playing with
this.
Daphne. She's really cool. She's easy. She can sing. She can hit that
sing.
cajon really good.
Yep.
I also do a duo every once in a while with J.D. Westmoreland, jazz guy. I never heard. In fact, we did a gig at T.J. Mulligan's Kirby somewhere just after Christmas, and he can sing, he can do all that. And he said, dude, you just do your thing, man. I just want to sit in the back. Nice. So I gave him a song list, and he would go on Ultimate Tabs or whatever that website is, and hey, Keith, what song we're going to do? Let's do America. And he was just reading it off the chart, just nailing everything.
Awesome.
So I do some duo stuff, but I like the acoustic thing. But I'm really happy about GTA coming back to do some shows once in a while.
Yeah.
It's a really good gig.
It is a great gig.
It's cool for me because I wasn't going out and wasn't really in the scene at all when you guys were a current band.
Sure.
So it's neat to see you all. And then there's been some of those mixtures where it's David Haynes on keys, so it's like an Area 51 GTA type of mixture, and it's cool.
Yeah.
But what are some of the venues that you're doing currently with your acoustic act?
Mulligan's happened, TJ's on Kirby happened for a quick moment, and then that just dropped. All the dates dropped with that. I'm doing, oh my gosh, I can't believe it.
Sidecars.
Rock House Live, Collierville, Highlander, just all the acoustic
pubs. The Highlander Pub in Collierville?
Yes, and I just got into...
Isn't there one, Villa Castriati? Do you do that?
I've got that coming up with Daphne, actually, very near. What's the other place in Collierville? Pizza place, Rotello's.
Okay.
I just got into there. So I'm about to start sending out emails. I got a resume and video demo. So I'm going to start pushing really hard.
Yeah, the resume you sent me was really sharp looking.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I reached out to you and was like, hey, man, give me some nuggets. What can we talk about?
Cool.
And yeah, you had this beautiful PDF that really shows what you are all about, sir.
Thank
so
you.
I definitely pulled a lot from there. Now, as far as bass playing, which is, I feel like, would most people know you as a bass player?
I would agree with that.
And GTA is the only thing you got going on with that, or you get some filling stuff?
I do the hard gun thing.
Yeah.
Somebody needs a bass player. Hey, can you play these songs? And I've done those songs, provided that it's classic rock. But for years...
Yeah, I saw you filling in with Hairspray Nation.
That's right. And people are like, do you need to rehearse? No, if I tell you know the songs, I know the songs. I may not know how you're going to end it.
Yeah.
But there's only one of three ways you can end a song. You're going to end it with the opening chop. You're going to end it, a chorus fade out, and the drummer's going to do something that's going to be so obvious.
Right.
Or it's going to end on how the song ends on the album. Right. I mean, there's really not much to choose from. What I've learned by being able to successfully play in hired gun situations is to get out of the way. Truly move out of the way and let the thing unfold. And that doesn't mean the band, that means you. Get out of your own way and let your motor skills facilitate what the instrument needs to do to pull that off. But you have to learn how to foresee. You have to read the future or the possibility of what that's going to be when that song comes in and how it's going to shape itself, and be ready for it to be the other two that you didn't think it was.
Right. Yeah. And then three of the members of the band each choose the different one.
Right.
So it's just a train wreck. It's a big. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much.
Right.
How did GTA come back up? How did this happen?
Keith was ready to start playing
Yeah,
again.
my wallet's.
An awesome name, Grand Theft Audio. I love. It's a great name.
That's J-Lo's doing. You know who J-Lo is, right?
No.
That's Josh.
That's
Joshine.
Yeah, I call him
Joshine,
J-Lo.
yeah.
I've been calling him that for years.
I didn't know that.
I don't know where it came from.
The first time I've heard that one.
J-Lo?
J-Lo.
Okay.
All right, J-Lo.
We were together for 6 years, and I think we were apart for 6 years when Josh made a transition. Life happens. People move on. And I think something happened to the effect that Area 51 had a gig that one or two of the members couldn't make the scene. Excuse me. And so Josh contacted Alan and I and said, hey, man, instead of, throwing away this phenomenal money, which I think was some sort of fair, like the Delta Fair or one of those kinds of fairs where the money was really banging. And so we did it. And then Josh, contacted us here and there, hey, guys, you want to do some gigs here and there, spotted? And I said, absolutely. It's one of my favorite projects out of all of my history I've ever played in. The guys, we just meld together. There was never not one single issue between the bandmates, which is
Cool.
That's cool.
always easy and fun.
So it's you, J-Lo,
J-
Alan Bone.
Yes.
And what is the name?
Pex.
Pex.
Pex, that's his name?
Pex.
All right, so let me start over. So you got J-Lo, Pex, and what's your keyboard player's name and then nickname?
Well, that would be David Haynes.
Okay.
For now.
So David's the guy for
okay.
now. Because
Okay.
it used to be David Childers? Or
Danny Childers.
Danny Childers.
Okay.
Danny's doing some other things. And
Okay. And then before Danny, you guys had,
Kenny Long.
Yes, Kenny Long.
And before Kenny Long was John Wright.
Oh, I didn't know. That's
Yeah,
new to
John
me.
Wright was
Okay.
the first guy.
Okay.
Was it you, Pex, was it?
Pex.
I almost called them Tits.
Don't do that.
And J-Lo, you three, the core since the beginning?
Yes.
You, Alan,
Yes.
and
That was
Josh?
the only change was the keyboard player.
Okay.
What happened was Josh, I, and Dwayne Cleveland, when Old Witten Tavern was across the street from Hadley's, we were doing some gigs there, and they started happening often. And I met Josh first playing in a band, and Pete Mandela's behind it. He goes, this young kid's about to come up and sit in. He goes, watch this. And we was doing Highway Song or whatever it was. And Josh was just laying it out. And so we started getting some gigs across the street, which led it to gig after gig. And so we decided to name the band the Old Witten Mavericks.
Okay.
And then eventually, after a couple of months of that, Josh and I spoke on the phone about putting a Rush tribute together. And I said, oh, Josh, that's a lot of money. I got to go buy Taurus pedals and whatever. So that didn't happen. So Josh and I kept in touch and kept talking, and eventually GTA formed out of that.
Nice.
Okay. Here we are, these years later. Throwing out some. Do you have any dates coming up?
We're going to be doing the Delta Fair, September 20th.
There we go. This will be.
Right.
This is going to be. Record an interview that won't publish for 6 weeks,
Right.
so dates can get a little screwed up. This is cool. All right. You are from Louisiana.
Houma,
Louisiana. I thought I put it in here, but
It is. It's up at the top.
there we go. Just pay attention, Derek. Houma, Louisiana.
yeah.
36 years, you say? You've been here?
Tomorrow will be 36-year anniversary of being in Memphis.
Nice.
And the story that leads up to that long 10-hour Ryder truck hike to Memphis, some guys from South Haven, Chris Adamson, who played with Jimmy Jameson for a while, and Jeff Hemrick, phenomenal singer. They moved to Houma. And we had a band down there called Thunder. And Thunder was traveling lightly here and there. And one day, Chris knocks on the door, and my girlfriend says, Keith, I thought you were not going out of town with the band this week. I said, I'm not. She goes, well, Chris is at the door. And previous to that, the girlfriend that I was with at the time, we were arguing a lot, and I said, I just can't do this. Well, you're not going to leave. So, and I said, the next time this happens, I'm going. She goes, where are you going to go? I said, I don't know, but I'm going. Well, the next morning, Chris is here. I said, what's up, bro? He goes, hey, man, we moving to Memphis, Tennessee. You going? And I looked at her and I was like, I got in the truck.
See you later. There you go. Bye-bye.
And so I came to Memphis, and it took me about 6 months to make any sense of a whole new world because it was not like my hometown. I didn't know a soul.
What year are we talking here?
1988.
1988.
Yeah. 24 years old. 24 years old.
So you walk into a city that's got this place called the Stage Stop.
It was happening.
Right.
It was on fire. Not only Stage Stop, the whole scene here was just on fire.
Better than it is now. Just kidding. Things are on the upswing, right?
And I think they're on the upswing.
There's more venues popping up, which is really awesome.
Yeah, and I think it was better then, to make a point, in the sense that there was a momentum behind that current musical current here.
Record labels were high in Memphis, for sure. They were here, as we've heard, all these stories that we've learned.
These new venues, though, they don't smell like the old venues.
They smell very clean and non-tobacco-ish.
Yeah.
What's the first thing you get involved with?
A painting job.
Oh, there you go.
I lived in a 2-bedroom house with Chris Adamson, myself, his mother, his father, and his grandmother, in this little bitty house on Hemingway.
Wow.
No vehicle, no job. Just sat there until one day, something opened up at an apartment complex nearby, and it just so happened, the maintenance supervisor there was an upcoming musician or wannabe himself, and he liked the fact that these long-haired guys were coming into town and these young rockers, and hey man, y'all want a maintenance job? You want a painting job? And I had the opportunity to live on property with no vehicle, and I started my upswing there. Just started working and painting and working and painting, and until one day, as a painter, I get go to the office only for the manager to say, Keith, here's your tickets for today. And I look at the ticket, and it happens to be oil paint. And I was playing in a Rush tribute band at the time with Chris Cook and Trip Gintz. And that night, it just so happened had my share, plus the other 2 band members' share of Jägermeister. So the next morning, Keith goes into the office to pull that oil paint ticket. So I walk into the room, the apartment, and I opened up that can of oil paint.
Uh-oh.
I immediately closed it, walked to the office, set the paint on the manager's desk. He goes, why are you not in that unit painting, Keith? I said, I quit, and I will never do this again. And so in that moment, the idea of a full-time professional musician truly was born. I made a life decision that this is just absolutely insane for me.
Was it the smell of the oil paint and hungoverness that...
Yeah, they were married.
You're like, nope, I'm either going to paint or throw up in the paint bucket.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
And so that started my walk.
Now you can throw up in the tip bucket.
Yeah, right.
So this Rush project, you say, is this the first project that you kind of get involved with?
Other than Thunder, that lasted for a little while, and I left Thunder, and they tried to go into a country route, which is fine. It just wasn't for me. I put together a band with Chris Cook, Jeff Miller, and a bunch of other guys called Zachary Fist. And we got the name from an old Marx Brothers movie where there was a character named Zachary Fisk. And so we called it Zachary Fist. And we were actually pretty much an all-original project. And the songs were great.
Cool.
They were really great. And that finally dwindled out. Then Chris Cook and I and Trip Gintz put a band together called Rash.
Okay. Now, did any of those songs you just mentioned find their way on to tape? Or
yeah, I have them.
Okay,
I'll send them to you if
you
you
got
like.
them. Yeah,
Sure.
I'd love to hear them.
We were doing a Rush tribute called Rash.
All right.
And our slogan is, if you don't like Rush, we will irritate you. Rash. And we did quite a few shows.
If they only had Josh Sheen back then.
Yeah, right. Actually, I played guitar and Taurus pedals and sang.
Okay.
Yeah, I was doing the Getty thing, but on guitar.
And I'm sorry, you said that was Rash was you, Chris Cook,
And Trip Gintz.
Trip Gintz. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Who is Trip Gintz?
Great bass player, great guy. He's done some original stuff, if I'm not mistaken, in the Stage Stop days.
Okay.
I knew Trip more intimately when we were a band versus his live pre-band and live post-band.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, Chris Cook, singer for Hairspray Nation. Now
Chris.
the drummer for Roxy Blue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but also done all kinds of stuff
Yeah.
throughout the
He's all over,
years. He's been here forever as well, right? So I saw you filling in one night for Hairspray Nation. So
Right.
that's the connection there. You guys have been friends for all these years?
Yeah, many years. I've been knowing Chris many years, played with him in many different outfits throughout the duration, for sure.
What came after that?
After Rash, Rash was 1991. In fact, we closed a nightclub in Louisville, Kentucky, and that nightclub happened to be called Splash,
Okay.
which happened to be on a boat. That as we closed that club that night, the last night it was going to be open, the next morning they sailed that boat all the way to Tunica, and it became the first casino.
I'll be damned.
Oh,
Right?
cool.
I remember.
Tunica, right? Splash.
I remember paying a cover charge to go in a casino and lose my money.
And after that, looking for something to do, sitting there twiddling my thumbs. One night, I walk into Stage Stop. I remember this clearly. I'm living it right now. 1992, I walk into Stage Stop, and I walk up literally to the bar, only to see Buddy Nimmons leaning. Hey, Keith, what's going on? Say, hey, dude, what's happening? He goes, man, not a whole bunch. What you been doing lately? And I could see it in his eyes with disgust. Painting, man. He wanted to vomit right there, reviewing his life as a painter. He said, painting. And I said, dude, you know what? How about we get rid of all this nonsense? I quit. I'm not painting anymore. He goes, yeah, but I said, how about until then, let you and I put a duo acoustic thing together. And we did. Buddy and I started being successful at being a duo acoustic. And then I've been knowing Jeff Adams since I moved here, because even though all the bands will look at you like this, because you're on stage and they're not.
Oh, yeah.
Behind that scene, you were really friends. And
Sure.
Jeff and I took to each other immediately. After Jeff moved away to Seattle, one night he came back into town, and he said, hey, man, can I sit in? I said, Buddy, let my friend in. Buddy didn't have no idea who Jeff was at all, not even by name. And so Jeff got up there and did a couple songs, and he goes, dude, this needs to happen. I said, what? He goes, us three. So we called it King's Trio. And this band was a power vocal band. We sat even with each other, and we were always singing. You might have the lead singer, but these two guys were right behind this guy, always singing these power vocal songs, Little River Band, Eagles, these songs with Crosby, Stills, and Nash.
Some big harmony parts.
Big stuff. And nothing against Bill Marshall, because when Bill came in, it was a total different creature altogether. But the warm acoustic thing of King's Trio, just 3 acoustic guitars and power vocals, was just absolutely mind-blowing. It was really that good, and I'm very fortunate to see that as a part of my history in the Memphis music scene. But when Bill came in, Bill added the element of the percussion, and we changed the song style a little bit more to like Player Baby Come Back and all those kinds of.
So he didn't come in as the full drummer. He was a percussionist?
No, he was playing percussion, including drums.
And then did you guys go electric?
We did, eventually.
Yeah, so you just became a band. Yeah. Okay.
And we had one rehearsal with Bill, and so we were going to do the first set without Bill. And we were playing the Midway Cafe on Poplar. So as we started our first set, I could see it in Bill's eyes. It was eating him alive. He was antsy. He did not want to wait seconds. He slowly got behind the drum kit and picked up his sticks and mid-song. And King's Trio was together for probably 13, 14 years maybe.
Wow, that's a hell of a run.
That's a big run.
Yeah,
so I have to know, did Buddy quit painting?
Yeah, he did. And it wasn't that long after, really.
Who now is with Almost Famous.
Yes.
Yes. That band's been together for a long time.
Yeah, and when Jeff made his commitment to be with Starship, as he deserved, I made contact with Scott, and I brought Scott in. And then eventually, a few years later, I left.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So now you have 3/4. You got Scott, Buddy, and Bill Marshall together. So then, okay. So you were kind of like the prequel to Almost Famous.
I was actually in Almost Famous for a couple of years.
Oh, so the name changed, and you were in Almost Famous.
Yes,
so
we changed the name when we were King's Trio with Scott.
Gotcha.
Scott convinced us, and I thought it was a really good move to change the name to Almost Famous.
Well, you couldn't be King's Trio anymore. You added a fourth guy.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I knew Tommy wasn't the original because we had him on the show.
Right.
And I gather he had to have said Keith, but I just didn't connect, I guess.
I don't remember.
So you're the original bass player for Almost Famous.
Yes, that's true.
Nice.
Awesome. Very cool.
Yeah. Then Jeff and I got back together with Chris Gavin, and we started Fifth Kind. Well, it wasn't Fifth Kind then. We called it King's Trio because we thought the band has not been around in a very long time. It might be a great re-grabbing of the people to bring them to the shows. And it did. It worked great. Our first show we did at Hadley's, I think it was still called Willie Moffat's back then. And eventually...
who was the third man?
Myself, Jeff, and Chris Gavin.
Okay. Chris Gavin, okay.
He played with, what's the name of his band?
Dust for Life.
Dust for Life, thank you. Dust for Life.
Seven Dust. I was like, whoa.
Right,
hey.
Dust for Life. And eventually
Dust for Life had a big run.
They sure did.
Yeah.
We brought Kerry Badur in, phenomenal keyboard player.
Yes, he is.
And Pete Medella was the guy for a while. And then the band regurgitated, and I left, and Kerry Badur came in. Corey Myers came in, and John Roth came in my stead, and I left.
And then that became Fifth Kind.
And that became the Fifth Kind as it was the last of it. And then a few years later, of course, then Josh shows up, and then Josh and I become bandmates, and that history happens. And now we sit.
Now we sit here.
Yeah.
Right here. So I see Seattle-based epic recording artist Fifth Angel. What's that all about?
This is a great story. So 1998, I think, whatever the year was. No, 1992, when I had some downtime. Jeff comes in from Seattle to visit for Christmas. It just so happens I'm at Stay Stop, one of those big round tables, and Jeff's sitting with us, and we're reminiscing and, seeing how each other's life is doing. And so I said, well, Jeff, what's going on, man? You touring out? Yeah, we tour, and we did Montana, we did this, and we're about to go to Hawaii. And being a sound engineer, I said, you need a sound engineer, let me know. He goes, you know what? We need a sound engineer. I said,
You're
really?
looking at one, dude.
He goes, I'm going to be in touch with you soon. So about 3 or 4 days later, he calls me. He says, you going to Stage Stop tonight? I said, no. He said, yes, you are. I said, bro, don't tell me. He said, Keith, you're going to meet me there. And he would not let up. And so we're sitting at basically the same big round table. And after we get settled and everybody gets a drink, and he goes, well, bro. And he pulls out a billfold and he throws an envelope at me. I said, what you got? He goes, look at it. Gave me a round trip ticket to Honolulu, Hawaii for 2 months, all expense paid, and a paycheck on top of that.
Nice.
And you were like, I'm still not doing it, man.
Yeah, right.
I've been waiting on that to happen to me my whole life.
Right.
Still hasn't happened.
Yeah. So this band was Fifth Angel.
No, this band was Jeff, don't be upset. It was called Boy Toy. He actually, listen to this connection. He actually joined the band, which had 2 girls fronting the band, called Boy Toy. She couldn't sing because she went on the road with Queensryche because she was the girl behind Operation Mindcrime.
Wow.
The singer from Mindcrime.
Okay.
So, and Jeff being the singer that he is and the quality and the octaves he can
Amazing.
reach, he moved in. So Jeff makes contact with me. I'm looking for music work. He says, Keith, I got some good friends up here, including Queensryche.
And this is Seattle.
Awful Seattle. He got me, he said, where can I buy the songs at? He said, Keith, just go to Pop Tunes or whatever record store was alive back then. He says, the album just came out. It was an epic album. The album called Time Will Tell.
Yeah.
Guitar player is ridiculous. The whole band, Ken Mary was the drummer.
Oh, wow.
Jeff said, I got you the audition, just learn the songs. So we're in the apartment business at that time. I had keys I master keyed all the units. So the next one to me was empty. So that was my little make-do studio. And I learned all the songs on the album. I flew up there, played one song, played the second song, and they said, you got the spot. And so I was now a member of Fifth Angel, and we were going on tour soon with Living Color. That was going to be the back half of the tour with Kiss. And they kept jacking around about getting a drum. I said, I got a drum in Memphis They were hung up on Ken Mary, hoping to get Ken Mary, and they didn't. So they used a guy named Scott Carruthers, who told them up front, I am not going to commit.
Yeah.
And so the record company really got tired of it and dropped the whole thing.
Oh, my gosh.
And I just got an endorsement.
Oh, man.
What's the name of the guitar? ESP. I had a inverted headstock,
Lord.
neck through ESP on its way to me, and I left before. Yeah, right.
Who was the drummer that was on your mind to tell them about?
His name is Shelby Bajeron.
Okay.
He moved here from Houma, Louisiana with us, actually.
Gotcha.
Or I moved with him.
I hate those stories are just more common than not.
Yeah, right.
Just when you think
Yeah.
you got something finally, and then the rug is just pulled out from under you.
Yeah.
So sound engineering. Now let's stay on that, because Thomas Halfacre was on the show.
Yeah.
And spoke very highly of you, not only as a sound man, but as a mentor. And
He was
really,
paid for that remark. His check's in the mail.
Man, he was supposed to share that with us, Jeff. He didn't share with us. But we're providing the microphones here.
Right.
Let's talk about that. One of the funny stories he tells is, the rule is there are no rules.
Yeah.
And you're one to just mix for what's needed in that moment, at that place, for that band. So tell us more about your history as an engineer.
When I was the band called, before we named the band Thunder in Houma, Louisiana, all those years ago, we had no sound man. We had a sound man who was the sound man of a band I was in previous to that, but he couldn't make all the shows, and they said, Keith, can you do it? And I did. And it literally started there, and it came to me so natural. There was honestly no learning curve for me. Here's a channel, and they might have 10 knobs, and, well, that's treble, that's mid, and I hear some, sounds good to me, and boom, boom. And I just started
Boom,
twisting,
boom.
and it just became very easy for me. And then as I watched over the years many sound engineers mix, they have this hurdle in their mind that says the top end knob does not go past 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, what are you hearing?
A snare is supposed to be right here within this parameter.
Yeah,
and it's like, no, make it sound right for that place and band and the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was a sound engineer, house engineer for Stay Stop for about 5 years, 5 days a week.
I didn't know this.
Yeah. In fact, before Thomas, Keith Lyle was cutting his teeth.
Okay.
Yeah, and Keith asked me for some thoughts here and there, and then Keith obviously took it in his own way and became who he is now as a sound engineer, house engineer for just about everybody in the city.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I love running sound. I still like the active running sound, not so much so with an iPad. You give me a desk, give me an analog desk with a rack of effects, I'm confident that I can hold my own against anybody.
Yeah.
That and it's my confidence to know how to twist that knob. Like for example, when Thomas was doing the interview with you gentlemen, we talking about the Crossroads event that took place on Beale Street, and there were like 2 or 3 bands before me. And if we were given a sound check, it was minimal, 5 minutes at most. So what I did was the first few people before me running sound for Black 59, Sean Few and Kim Tremmel and Jeff. That was perfect. Kim Tremmel and Trip Gintz.
Yep.
I watched the sound engineer, and as I'm watching him from the guy that before, he really didn't do anything. So I'm like, that kick needs to come up a little bit, and he needs about that much more snap, and that vocal needs to. And so I just took a mental picture of everything. As soon as the band was done, he turned the masters off. I started making these tweaks, and I told Thomas, I said, Thomas, we have a very short window. What I'm asking you to do, and I told the band, do not do anything beyond my instruction. I said, because the daisy's huge, the lights are somewhat dim. I said, when Thomas puts the spotlight on you, you just start playing, and when that spotlight goes off, you stop. You don't hit no extra notes. So I did all those pre-tweaks that I saw the sound engineer that were deficient before I got up there. Thomas put the spotlight on Jeff. Jeff started playing, tweak, done. Now, and this lasted probably a total of a minute and 15 seconds.
Yeah.
And when Black 59, everyone welcome Black 59, and I threw that gas up, it came out, and everybody in the room turned around. But needless to say, I didn't get any much more sound work after that. But I love mixing. I missed working on an analog desk.
Yeah, I bet. That old school sound.
You can grab the knob and turn it versus sliding a page over to hopefully get to the control that you need to.
Yeah.
Right.
And you can save scenes all you want, but you're always going to have to retweak.
Yeah.
Because the sound at Dan McGinnis is not going to be the same as Hadley's. It
No.
just isn't.
Right.
And crowd size also plays a very big part on the dynamic of the sound system. That's for sure.
So looking at your notes, Keith, staying with sound engineering, you have quite a list of some amazing people that you've worked with. At the top is Warrant. And then we got Quiet Riot. Louisiana's LaRue. Sean Lane. That name never comes up. Bobby Rock and URA Heap. So let's talk about these.
Sure.
How you got connected with these bands.
Being the house engineer at Stage Stop for 5 years, Warrant was going to do a show. They didn't have a sound engineer, and I'm sure they had some dialogue with Nita back then. Who's going to be running our sound? She goes, "Oh, it's a house guy, blah blah blah. He's good or whatever." And they came in, and it was fantastic. Their stage level volume was on the loud side, but in a rock kind of loud, good side. It was good, and I had to work a little bit to get the mix as it should be. But because the way Stage Stop is designed, the speakers are way out here, which would be great if it was a deep room.
And it wasn't.
It wasn't. It was more wide. But the whole room, no matter where you sat, it was good quality sound.
But if you're standing right on the dance floor, the sound's kind of passing you.
Passing you by.
Yeah.
But that was a really good show. That's when Janie Lane was there. And he and Todd were both on stage doing and
This had to have been 1990, 91.
Yeah, somewhere around there
frame.
for sure.
Yeah.
And that was at Stage Stop. And also Quiet Riot. I got to the gig a little early. I went to the back room where the band hung out. And there was nobody there. It was quite early, a couple of 3 hours before the show. So I went in the back room and happened to stumble upon Carlos Cavazzo playing his guitar unplugged on a skateboard. He's going doing all these runs, and this room is.
He's playing while riding on a skateboard.
Yeah. And the room is no bigger than this. And so he's just circling the room and doing fishtails and just speaking. And I walk in and said, "Hey, Carlos, man, what's going on?" And I was a huge Carlos Cavazzo fan back then, especially with the first album, Mental Health, when he saw his guitar solo, Battle Axe. So I'm walking in the room just drooling. But no matter how nice of a guy he was, he would not turn down. It was, bro. It was. Yeah. They brought a special PA system, and Ed Marshall rented Nita an even bigger system than what they had. But bigger in that room's not going to help because big is big and as loud is loud.
Right.
Yeah.
And the throw, even though there's a distance from the soundboard to the stage, it's not long enough for two double stacked Marshalls that are just maxed, and I just cannot get the vocals above that kind of volume.
Yeah.
That was it. Say stop.
And then they look at you as the bad guy. That why can't I hear myself? And where's this feedback coming from? And,
once you overpower a room like that, it's a lost cause.
It's not even musical anymore.
Right.
And then it becomes painful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And let's face it, the sound guys are underappreciated and often the punching bag, aren't you?
Can be.
Yeah,
can be. I've been blessed, so I must have been doing something right all these years. And when you become the punching bag, it's usually about monitors.
Okay.
And I'll do. You tell me what you want, and when you say give me more monitor, I don't pretend I'm turning it up to where you go. I turn it up. And that's what you want because I'm a musician on this side of the soundboard, knowing that I need some more guitar because he's doing all the signature licks that I need to follow. So
yeah, I'm sure I've been tricked. the placebo effect, if you will.
Yeah, right.
You good? Oh, it sounds so much better. And they don't touch a fucking knob, right? Like, but I guess it is what it is. So, Louisiana LaRue.
Mixed them in Louisiana. You familiar with them? I don't know the song New Orleans Ladies?
Mm-mm.
You never heard New Orleans Ladies?
No, I've heard
I'm not
heard
about to
that
sing
song,
it,
but I didn't know who that was until you mentioned that song.
They're hugely successful around the world. Some spots more so than others, but you go to South Louisiana and LaRue is the band. Okay. They had good success.
So how did you connect with them? Because you were from there?
Just being from there, and we opened up for them a bit, and then I had a sound gig. I was running sound at this particular club, and they came. I think the club was called Fantasies, and they came in and did the show. And if I'm not mistaken, they may have been at a sound gig that I did some years ago for Zebra. But
Okay.
it's been so long ago and so many.
Didn't they just play?
They did. They just did.
I
Graceland,
immediately
believe.
think of Jimmy Fault
Hey, yo.
because he wears the zebra shirt a lot at gigs.
Well, and I believe the drummer needed a throne for that show. Something had happened,
Yes, he did.
and they didn't show up with his drum throne.
And then you bring when you
No, it wasn't me. I wasn't available. I didn't have mine available, but somebody had to provide this guy with a throne.
Oh man!
Have you ever heard Zebra? They're phenomenal.
Really?
Oh my gosh! You know, they start off like anybody else with a handful of originals and doing some Moody Blues and some Zeppelin and some Rush, and they became their own animals. They still sound great. The good singer, guitar player Randy Jackson is just ridiculous. I mean, the whole band. They're sort of like Geddy Lee back in the Moog Tars pedals kind of days. You know, Felix Hanneman plays keys and hits his bass and plays some Moog stuff, and the drummer's got this Triumph kind of drum kit with Neil Peart kind of a kit mixed together. And
Are they a three-piece?
yeah,
So
absolutely.
another power three-piece.
Power three-piece.
Sean Lane. This name comes up constantly.
Mixed him at
So-
State Stop. Same with Bobby Rock. Sean Lane is just a freak. Was a freak. He was something else. I remember at Stage Stop when I did mix sound for Bobby Rock on a different night. Bobby Rock had a guitar player, and I think he's from England, and this guy could hold his own. I mean, he was something else. And he heard Sean Lane was in the audience, and he says, "I got another guitar. Sean, I would be honored if you sat in with me." So during the break, they went in that little room that Carlos Cavazo was on a skateboard. And this guy, songs that we never heard because it's Bobby Rock, and it was an instrumental exercise for technicians, so to speak. And then Sean listens to the guitar player, and he goes, "Do you want me to just play harmony with that?" And the guy, he looks at Sean and goes, "Are you serious? You're going to take my technical thing that I created, and on the spot you could think that you can double that with the harmony?" Sean says, "Play it again." And he was a music machine. One night we were at Sean's house after a gig, at the King's Trio gig. He invited myself and Rick Del Castillo from Acacia to go to his house late night. And we're there late night. And as we get settled in, Sean says, phenomenal guy, phenomenal human being. He's sitting there and he plays these different pieces of music, and he's doing this thing, you know, because he can hear every dimension and every juice that's coming out of that music. So he goes, "Keith, Rick, I got something I want to put on for you." I said, "All right, well, go ahead." And he puts on this ridiculous sounding music. It was a player piano that the wheel broke, the mechanism broke. So it's playing at this ridiculous speed. And so he's just salivating over this, and Rick and I are looking at each other going, you know, what's his deal? And he goes, "Keith, Rick, don't you guys hear the infinite patterns?" We were like, "No, we don't. We don't hear that at all."
So he was just, like you said, a machine, a genius. Do you know if he had perfect pitch?
Oh, absolutely.
No, for real.
Yeah,
I mean that because
yes.
if you can just hear a quick line and automatically know the harmony in your head and have that instant recall,
Sure.
he had to have had perfect
Well, that
pitch.
guy that he played guitar with Bobby Rock, he played this long technical solo that must have lasted, you know, I'll make a number, 15 seconds long. And you got a lot of notes with this virtuoso just ripping and shredding. And Sean says, "Play it again." And he played it again. And then Sean played it with him, harmony.
That's wild.
And so one night I asked Sean, I said, "Sean, you know, when you do all this phenomenal, alien, freakish stuff, are you doing some sort of theory modalities? Are you finding patterns? Are you using blocks? Are you using mathematical shapes?" He goes, "No, when I close my eyes, I just see empty holes, and wherever there's an empty hole, I put my finger in it."
Whoa!
You all right? So he's operating on a level that's beyond
that is alien.
trying to facilitate something. He just becomes the conduit for a higher level of consciousness of musical possibility.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We always talk about Sean Lane himself, but he obviously had a band, right? Like, what was his band like? What was his project like? What did they do?
They did some covers, like, for example, some Jimi Hendrix, and then maybe here and there. They have done some Eric Johnson because they were friends.
Right.
Sean went through a plethora of musicians.
Yeah.
But everybody that Sean had was... You can't even sit on the stage and watch if you didn't have you weren't the
You gotta
caliber
hang.
musician. You got to be able to hang with that.
Yeah. So, was there ever band names, or was it always Sean Lane?
He was with the Willies.
Okay.
He started, he was with Black Oak, Arkansas first. And I saw him in South Louisiana when I was 15 years old with Black Oak, Arkansas. Black Oak, Arkansas, and Sean was 15 years old. I'm going, what is that?
Well, see, I never saw Sean play live, so I never had that pleasure of that. But I want to ask this question because to me, the sign of just an amazing guitar player, he was obviously what you've talked about, and amazing, and a shredder, and the speed, and just everything he did was so amazing. Was he able to play down to a song?
He liked the speed, so you do more of what you like.
Yeah.
But when he grabs a note,
right,
there's no denying that. Just one note. If he grabbed the note and you've heard Sean, and you're past, you'd go, that has to be Sean.
Yeah.
His tone did not come out of his amp, nor did it come out of his guitar.
It came out of his fingers.
It came out of his fingers, and that sounds crazy. Well, he gives you right.
It's an Eddie Van Halen thing.
Yeah. He grabs that guitar and he's got a vibrato, and the tone literally comes out of his fingers.
Yeah. And a current drummer that I've used that analogy with is Todd Suckerman from Styx.
Oh my gosh, that's
that guy
a monster.
has got his own tone. Yeah. I mean, it's unbelievable.
You could buy that same snare tuned exactly the same with the same microphone, the same PA, same.
Yeah.
But it's just the way he hits it.
Yep.
Perfect example. I have an original band that it's no longer together, but years ago we put out 2 albums called Lavender Soul, and these 2 albums were made with members of the Memphis Symphony Orchestra. Okay. The concertmaster Susanna Gary Gilmore, she was a first chair violinist, and a couple other musicians. But Angelo Rapin, world-renowned classical pianist, I mean, this is just ridiculous how he can play. So one day he said, Keith, walk up to the keyboard and just take your hand open. Just take 2 hands and just hit all the keys. Whatever keys your hands can touch. And it'll sound like as you might expect it to sound. He says, watch when I do it. And he did the same thing. He literally walked over to the piano and just smashed a whole bunch of keys. But likewise, when you play your own guitar, you sound like you versus someone playing your guitar. Yeah. When he did the same thing, there was a musical value to it that I just cannot explain. So I agree with the idea that for sure, if you put Tom Schultz's guitar in your hand, you are not going to sound like Boston at all.
No, just not.
No.
You can have that half-cocked wah pedal that he did and everything. He's talk about a genius. Yeah. That dude. Yeah. A lot of people don't realize he is Boston.
Yeah. That first album was phenomenal.
Yeah, and ahead of his time engineering-wise too.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's the thing he made?
The Rockman.
That soaks or something. What's going on?
Oh, he
there?
made a power soak.
A power soak, is that what it is?
Was it called a power soak, or is that the second name that came along? Power soak. I think it's called a power soak.
And that's so you can fire your head up and blast those tubes up, and then it filters into that, so then you can manage your cab.
So you can control the volume with it. That's
but the tone is still there.
Right.
Yeah. Huh. He invented that.
Amazing.
Played all the bass. He had a drummer in the studio.
And those bass lines on that first album, I was like, wow.
Do you know Rick Beato?
I do.
On YouTube, so that's why I'm learning some of this stuff. And he broke down one of those songs, and genius.
Yeah.
And next time you listen to a Boston song, try to listen to the bass. You kind of take it for granted because it's in the song and everything, but that shit's moving.
It's moving the whole song.
Yep. Yeah.
If you change that bass line, that song that you heard is not going to be the same song at all.
Who is Bobby Rock?
He was probably still is a world-renowned drummer.
Yeah,
one of those guys.
Played drums for Nelson.
Did he really?
Yes, he did.
Nice. Yeah. Good job.
Yeah.
One of those Greg Bissonette kind
of guys.
Were you
a big Nelson fan, Jeff?
I listened to that album After the Rain.
Right?
And it was a great album. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but Bobby Rock played drums on that album.
Yeah, he was one of those guys that floated around for a while he was a name that was moving around the industry, Bobby Rock. And
he looked a lot like Alan Bone. Pecs.
Yeah, right.
Are we going to need a sound for Alan Bone now?
Yes, we will.
Yeah, you're going to have to get him doing Carl from Sling Blade. That's an Alan Bone.
Well, while we're talking about guitar players, I've got to really say something about a guitar player that you've gotten to work a lot with on the local level. That's Josh Haynes with Grand Theft Audio.
J-Lo
is amazing. He's not, I don't consider him a shredder like Sean Lane was, but I certainly give Josh like that level of
alienish,
listening,
perfect
listening to it, and then just playing it and making it sound just like what was recorded. He's just phenomenal at that. So you've been fortunate to work with that guy a lot.
Yeah. And he's funny as they come, and he's
hilarious.
smart. He's smart as you can possibly
Joe
imagine.
Sheen is some
Yeah.
good
Yeah,
stuff.
Yeah, I've had the pleasure of working with him a little bit here and there, and it's just we have a lot of laughs.
Yeah, he's twisted. He really is.
It's so much
and
fun.
we only know the surface
Yeah.
level of his
Scratching the surface.
twist.
He's got a dirty mind. Josh, you dirty boy,
Yeah.
J-Lo.
Put him next to Davy Smith, and it gets kind of scary.
Yeah, it gets a little wonky. Yeah, for
Well,
sure.
I want to throw love to Seth Kirkendall because I feel like he's another one of those aliens.
Absolutely.
Just how he can just recall something,
Yeah.
and you see it up there with formerly known as Sean's really Sean Few. He is big on taking requests of songs they never played before, and his whole band, Julian and Jacob, they're all great at it.
Right.
But Seth has become that guy that, if you notice, he's on Facebook a lot, playing in a lot of different projects.
He's getting busy.
Yes, very
He's
busy.
becoming a musical whore like many of us.
And man, we started doing this podcast for this very reason, to get people like you in here and to talk about people like Seth and Josh. We have some next level talent in Memphis that I don't think the world knows about, and I really wish this.
I'm glad that someone's around to carry the torch.
Yeah.
Well,
from others. Yeah.
When you say for people to learn about, next show I want to break out some more analytics.
Okay.
It's pretty wild, man. We got people from.
Oh yeah.
We got we'll have one download from some third
Zimbabwe.
world. Yes, this is hilarious. And then we have right now. I just looked. We have like 10 from what's called parts unknown. Like it said, the bottom of the list it says unknown, and then either it's YouTube views or downloads. Anyways, but yeah, we're global, baby. We are global. So, but Uriah Heep, I don't want to skip over that as far as someone that you've done sound for. Tell us about Uriah Heep.
That was at Club in East Memphis.
The Night Moves.
Bingo.
Look at me go.
Jeff. Thank God for you, Jeff.
Yes,
I've been getting names wrong all morning.
If that was the name, it was that building. If that was the name then, what was the name before that?
I only knew it was Night Moves,
it was Night
but I
Moves.
think there may have been something before that.
It was
but
Night Moves.
I saw Alice in Chains at freaking Night Moves, man. You could see that back in the day. You could see some up and coming artists.
Yeah, so
in these
Alice in
little
Chains
clubs.
wasn't Alice in Chains yet.
They were not huge yet.
Yeah.
They were on their way. They were just breaking out.
Do you recall hearing "Man in the Box"? Can you? I know back then you wouldn't have.
I was
been
probably
like, oh wow, I love
I
this
was
song.
probably so hammered I didn't recognize much.
Doesn't take much there, Keith.
Right.
So Uriah Heep, we squirreled everybody as we do. All right.
So that was it. That was at Night Moves. Now, did you do work for Night Moves, or was it just that one?
No, it was
show?
a hard. I didn't work for Night Moves. We need a sound man.
Sweet.
Call Keith, and so I showed up and mixed it up.
Cool.
Very cool. So, do you have anything currently that you're running sound for? I know you helped Jeff out.
Yeah.
Yep.
So let's talk about that show at Hadley's y'all did together.
That was one of our very early shows
That's
where
right.
we did a double billing. Gen X did a double billing with the Boneyard.
Boneyard.
Pecs.
Fantastic
Pecs.
Pecs and the gang. And it was a great show. And you really had us.
Thank you.
Sounded
And
good.
I wish I could have done more with the monitors, but
Yeah.
that was literally beyond my call.
Yeah.
One, I don't know where to plug this. It was, there was a serious time crunch.
Yeah, that was the big thing. Is it was a time crunch because we don't do a whole lot of 2-band shows in this town for that reason, because it's hard to get one off and get the other one up, and it can be crazy and hectic and frustrating. But Gen X was brand new, and we didn't have enough material to cover a whole night.
Yeah.
So I reached out to Alan, and he said, "Sure."
And they were relatively new too.
Yeah.
I can't say they didn't have enough for a full night.
Yeah.
I'm sure they did, but they were
willing to let us
trying
open
to
for
get
them,
things
and,
going too.
It was great.
Yeah.
We had a great time, and that was may have been the first time I used my PA. So you, sir, really broke my PA in
Cherry.
really good.
I broke a chair.
Pop, pow.
But I'm sorry you became his punching bag. I heard that he was a big asshole to you.
I was not. Was not.
I have a quote here
Okay.
from one Keith.
Oh, I saw this.
Music is the universal language and a doorway to the dimension where all things connect.
put on a good album, their heads are going to move and their feet are going to stomp. So they're not really listening to the lyrics that we are. Music, it's food, man. I mean, everybody moves. You put a piece of music on to a baby who's just now starting to walk, they start bouncing.
They get it.
Yeah, they get it beyond probably we do.
Isn't there a study where even in the womb, if you play classical music or whatever, it has an impact on them?
Absolutely, because everything is vibration, frequency, and energy. Everything. Yep. There is no thing that vibration, frequency, and energy isn't. So as we speak, as we see, I mean, everything around us is radiated light. You know, even this microphone, it's light, which is the energy, and sound holds it together. So these are the principles of physics, quantum mechanical physics, and everything.
Just went way over mine.
No, I love it. Keep it going.
So
I love
really, just everything is energy. And so once we understand that, we can see that we think sound creates form. What happens when you play music? People form on the dance floor.
Yeah.
And so even if you go back to Tibetan Buddhist monks, how do they get those monasteries up in these mountains that there are no roads to? They used to chant these certain sacred mantras that would actually lift. Well, you can get on YouTube any day of the week and type in sound levitation. They'll have a speaker that literally lifts, manifests this, whatever, the stone or whatever it is, into thin air. So music is the key. It's sort of the shake hands deal that brings people together for sheer enjoyment. People don't go listen to music. Well, some people do. To fight. I mean, you go there to have a good time and be with people of your own kind and have a good evening out. But
it's been the fabric for centuries.
What's the meme that says 3 minutes with the right musicians seems like it passes in seconds?
Yeah,
but 3 minutes with the wrong musicians takes an eternity, and it's true, man. When you get with the right players and everybody's on that same page, it's magical.
It's magical. Yeah.
Speaking of frequencies and matter and everything, one of my cousins, shout out to Wayne, he tagged me in a Facebook post, and it was wild. It was like a line of torches, I guess, where the flames were going vertical, obviously, but that wasn't like. They were just like powerful candles, we'll say, tall flames, right down the line, and he had a trumpet, and he played the trumpet, or it may have been a trombone, I can't remember. It was a horn, and he played straight into the flames, down the line, and with each note, the flames formed what would look like a sound wave.
Okay,
absolutely.
And every note and every different note, the flames reacted in a different way, but consistent. If you played a D, it formed what looked like a waveform. You'd play another note, go back to the D, same thing.
Same thing.
You know, and there's also those videos out there where it's dust on a plate. Have you seen those, Keith?
Yeah, salt or sugar or dust.
And they play certain frequencies, and each frequency has its own shape.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. And so everything believe it or not, everything we say is coming out in the form of sound, but it's creating a geometric shape.
Yeah. Yes.
Everything.
Yeah.
And so there is this thing called sympathetic resonance. Sympathetic resonance is, and this is how we attract people in our lives, or whatever it is we call the hope, consciously, hopefully we want in our lives. If I was to play an acoustic guitar, and there's an acoustic guitar over there on the stand, and nobody's touching it, and I'm tuned to 440, and I hit an A string, it begins to vibrate. How is that happening? Without someone actually physically striking the guitar. Well, this is true with everything. Everything we speak, it just goes out and bounces, and it attracts unto itself its own like vibration. Hence the relationship between the two guitars. And so, those synthetic plates. In fact, every body's sympathetic resonance. Every body is in person, but body, physical thing, is vibrating. It's moving. It's dancing, really. You know, sound, like I said just a bit ago, it's the glue that binds everything together, and light is the information. You know.
I love
so
that.
if you, whoever you are, you know, even if you follow, not we got to get in a spiritual thing, but if you follow any particular scripture, they speak about the power of the spoken word. Well, what is that?
Yeah.
Well, if we become so clear with our information within ourselves, in every utterance, you can literally move things around.
Yeah.
We do that every day. People get up and they don't realize the intelligence that they don't even know themselves that they have. That's required once the alarm clock goes off. They get out the bed. All the steps included from the bed to the car to make, they don't even realize they're making this happen consciously. They just think they call it a habit or routine kind of thing. But we're making all this happen. That's why I think music is so important, especially from these people like the classicals like Beethoven and Mozart. These people were were conscious as to why in their invention of these pieces of music, they were able to move the world.
And Sean Lane.
Exactly.
That dude was
Absolutely.
otherworldly, in my opinion.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Who of those composers, which one was deaf? Was it Beethoven?
Mm-hmm. I believe it was Beethoven.
No,
How does that happen? How
vibration.
There you go.
He feels it. And in fact, there are many people who can dance and they don't hear the music; they feel it.
Right.
So I think that's actually better. And not that I want to be deaf, but I mean, you get to
it's a different.
It's a different way of hearing it.
Yeah.
Different way of hearing the
Just
music.
feeling it.
And look,
Sure.
this is something you have to be really careful with because I spoke and attracted this knucklehead.
He's pointing to me, everybody.
Yeah, you got to be careful. This can be dangerous.
While we're on this topic, which I love, let's bridge from this to your content that you put out there on Facebook. These videos you put out there, and where you're talking on these things. Tell us more about that and how long you've been doing that, and if there's a set schedule you do. I always find them fascinating. I always stop and listen.
Oh, wow. My greatest teacher of compassion was my sister who had an affliction growing up. Beyond any spiritual teacher or deity. Being personal with something that's happening in your own world. She had a condition called Friedreich's ataxia, which is sort of like muscular dystrophy of the nervous system.
Okay.
And I'm a little guy now, and I was a runt back then, but there was a fire burning in me. You criticize her. I'll find something and smash you over the head with it quick. And I did many times. And football players would laugh at other football, don't mess with Keith, right, kind of thing. And it just taught me that's not how you treat people. Well, a few years into the future, my dad picked up a guitar and harmonica, and he started playing Cajun country folk songs. And, of course, I wanted some of that. So I'm reaching my little arm around this big Gibson Dove, learning to play this guitar, and really loved it. A few years hence, something about me wanted to move into some sort of spirituality. I went to a seminary to become a Catholic priest. Imagine that.
Very interesting. Yeah.
And then one year, at the age of 15, the same year I was considering being a priest, my father hands me an electric guitar. So any aspect of God or spirituality, or that goes in the closet.
Total opposite,
right? Yeah,
right?
So I dated the girl, the one that early in this interview, when I went, I'm going to Memphis.
See you later.
10 years later. And so then after she moved up, there was a time when we were not getting along that she left me when she moved up here. And dark night of the soul for 2 years. So I pulled the want for wisdom back out the closet, and I dove in. Mm-hmm. And then after many years of reading, one night I went to sleep. And when I woke up, something woke me up. I heard, "Good morning, Keith." So I wake up. There's nobody there. Dream voice. Dream voice. Dream voice.
Yeah.
Lay back on bed, and the voice said, "Good morning, Keith." I knew something was happening. Not because I was deducing mathematics in my head. Something was happening. And consciousness. I heard the voice audibly. I smelled it. I tasted it. I felt it. I knew where all the molecules came from, why they were here, and where they were going next. It was a super conscious experience. And the voice says there was no fear. There was no time for it. It didn't embody fear. I had no fear. I just felt nurtured, cradled, all these wonderful qualities. And the voice says, "Go in the front row, press record on your tape player, and let your mouth move." And I said, "What am I going to speak about?" And it said, the voice, the information will come. Well, keep in mind, as this was happening, this was not me following thought after thought after thought after thought to understand what it wanted. This was what I call, not linear thought, it was called whole thought. It was just this one impression, and in that impression was everything. And so I went to the sofa and started recording this information for about, strongly every day, for about year and a half, 2 years, of just allowing this, whatever come through me. And I would go into these crying spells often. And people even ask me, "Why do you cry?" I said, "I don't know. It's just such a level of joy from within this is coming from. So after about a year or so of that, the voice says, enough with that. Go out and live these principles now, because you don't want to just start reciting information like a parent. It will have no weight, no validity.
Yeah.
And so for many years, I began to live those very principles that I turned into these best-selling books. I don't do them I did a couple of years ago, before COVID, have a scheduled routine. And now, because of my living situation, I don't have access to this beautiful technology that you have in this current time. But I plan to get back to that soon. I like seeing people on fire. I want nothing for it. In fact, I don't charge, really, I don't. Seeing people embodied and their full potential, there's a joy that happens in me to know that I'm somehow a part of it. Whether it's a validation, fine, I can handle validation. I like validation, we all do.
Sure.
I like knowing that I'm being a part of a team, that they need me in a certain way, and then in turn, I need them to validate and do the things that they do in my life. I like helping people. My sister was the bridge or the spawn of that. It's another aspect of me, of expressing myself spiritually beyond the boundaries, beyond the beliefs, beyond the dogma. And I understand that people's beliefs, dogma, and the ways they do things are very sacred to them. And that's their way of doing it. But I've learned that there's a better way to put out a house fire than just using a glass of water. There's a better way of doing this to doing that. So if you want to learn how to be a car mechanic, you don't call the police station. You call a car mechanic. Mm-hmm. So you find people in your life who have achieved these levels of success, if you will, and in this case, a spirituality, a spiritual teacher that represents absolute joy, and they're the embodiment of. They're walking around living it, and you can tell that they are that being and doing it by the level of light in their eyes. It's always the eyes. Mm-hmm. So it's another aspect of me.
That's the answer I wanted. I love it.
That is.
I love it. We need to talk off mic, sir.
Yeah.
Right. Or we can create a new channel, and we can.
I got the technology that you need, sir. You said you didn't have it. I do.
Yeah, right.
I need your voice. Match it with this technology. We're in. No.
Yeah, right.
A little business meeting here. No. I love that. Thank you for all of that.
Thank you for having.
And a lot of people resonate with that. And I like your vulnerability to get on there. There's a lot of people that feel and have that same mindset and spirituality, but don't want to be in front of a camera.
Right.
In closing, if I may, there are 4 principles, and they're really short.
Go for it.
When I was in that dark night of the soul, I didn't look for it. It just happened. I had passion. This has to change. I had many dark thoughts. This has to change. It created a passion in me to do so. The next is sincerity. You have to mean it. You have to really, really mean it. And it creates then you have to create a humility inside of yourself, which is opening a door.
Yeah.
And then you have to become vulnerable.
Yep.
You have passion, the active, the fire. Put your hands in the engine and get your fingernails dirty. Sincerity means, I need this car. And the humility. So when you put these 4 together, things beyond what we call everyday life change. Dimensions of life that we don't even know exist will actually come find you and sit inside of your consciousness.
We can't end it in any other way.
Thank you, guys.
Love it. That is awesome, man. Wow, my mind is blown right now from all of that, but I feel you, man. I love that kind of content, if you will. Not to call it content.
Yeah, that's fine.
But follow Keith on Facebook. Do you have a special page, or is it just you?
If you can find it's Keith A. Blanchard. If you can just find me on my personal page, you will see offshoots of different things I do and work. And if you are serious to know a little bit more about what I do in this way, you can look up centeroflightfoundation.org. And thank you for allowing me to express that aspect of myself.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I wanted to from the beginning.
And if you don't know Keith, all you got to do is go out and hear live music. The guy is everywhere.
Yep.
Catch a Grand Theft Audio show or one of his acoustic solo or acoustic duo
shows. You're also good at putting that out there on your page and going live.
And he is super approachable. I can tell you this from experience. He's a great dude, and he'll talk to you. Just say hi.
And his son Eden has been off camera. You want to say hello, Eden? Loudly? Or pop on the camera. You want to say hi?
Come on.
Nah, he
He'll
said,
pass.
nah,
Okay.
he'll pass. But well, follow us on Facebook and Instagram,
Yep.
please. The Rhythm Section Pod, therhythmsectionpod.com is where you can find everything podcast, and of course our sponsors. We love you all so much.
Yep.
Jeff, you want to talk about the Sunday replay?
Sure, yeah. The Sunday Replay series, we bring back all of your favorite interviews on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify, and it doesn't have the Jeff and Derek show attached to it, so you
At the
can
front
just,
end.
you can just see the interview of the actual person that we talk to, and the tip bucket links in descriptions, and you can search the Rhythm Section Pod on both Venmo and CashApp. And of course, we have a new email. We want you to send us questions and phone
Yes.
numbers so we can talk to you live.
The Rhythm Section Pod 2022 at gmail.com. And I haven't revealed this to you yet, Jeff, but a lot of people are asking for us to keep the intro.
Really?
No.
I was about to be shocked.
Keith Blanchard, everyone.
Thank you,
Thank you,
gentlemen.
Man,
Thank you very much.
Such a pleasure having you here today.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure getting to know you,
Same here.
recently for me, and looking forward to seeing you out there again, sir. Awesome. All right,
appreciate
everyone.
it.
Thank you for watching. Take care now.
Go see a band.
Yes.